Waiting on my opponent to send a challenge back. Lost the die roll. It's a bad start. This will be a matchup where my 2 copies of main deck Collision should come in handy. Was wondering how much good or bad I was going to get from those today. Yeah, this is a reasonable opener. They've got 4 Lava Coils and 4 Shocks. So there's plenty of lands in it. They have a super aggressive start. I might be a little bit in trouble, but Wildgrowth Walker's going to do some work. The question is, do I want to lead on Wildgrowth Walker on 2 or Growth Chamber Guardian? My first play is more likely to die. Growth Chamber Guardian dies to 4 more things than Wildgrowth Walker, though. It dies to their 4 copies of Shock. Second Growth Chamber makes me want to lead on Growth Chamber. Because Growth Chamber, if they don't have a Shock and they do have a Lava Coil, it's like not unlikely to like soak a Lava Coil up, which would be ideal. Especially with the second one drawn, so probably play Growth Chamber Guardian on 2 here. Yep. This is why I elected not to play Sultai mid-range today, even though I think it's the best deck in the format. I think there's going to be a lot of people playing Sultai that draw matches in this tournament. People tend to play Magic very deliberately, especially when they're playing tournaments like this. I'm going to go ahead and lead on using the Growth Chamber Guardian here. They've been to Spell Pierce. They're probably double checking my deck list to see how valuable Spell Pierce was going to be. Incubation Incongruity is a good pickup here because it lets me exile their first strike that could get too scary, so that's nice. Ideally, they won't deploy a threat and kill my threat this turn. If they just kill Growth Chamber Guardian, that's not that big of a deal. I'm going to play a land out, I think, and then attack for 2. Do I want to pop this off? I'm just going to pop this off. Just like get the beatdown going. Next turn, I can go Walker plus Branchwalker. This uses my mana most efficiently. I could maybe play a Jadelight Ranger this turn, but I think I'd prefer to play that post Wildgrowth Walker. And like that, popping that off there really encourages them to go ahead and burn the Lava Coil if they have it. So now I get to generate a double spell turn here, which is nice. Land is a great hit. So if they don't have another Lava Coil here, the Wildgrowth Walker should run away with the game. And if they do have another Lava Coil, we're probably still ahead. Looks like they have another one. I get to go Jadelight plus Growth Chamber Guardian here. They do have the Terramander. That's a good hit for them. So they've got 5 things in there already. Yikes. So I think I start with this. This puts them at 12. I'm at 23, so like even if this thing like poofs off next turn, I'm still in a pretty good spot. I think I just go Jadelight into. Need to go down here. That feels a little bit bad, because it means that these don't have any friends to find at this point, but they're still for the 4s, which is good. Hopefully their turn this turn is going to be spent turning this into a 5/5, and then I get to like take them off their turn with the Incongruity. If they have a land to dive down this, I could be a little bit sad. This discovery here is pretty bold if they don't have a Shock. I guess it's technically free, right? They just they have 7 things in here, so this only costs 1 to pop up for them. Wonder if they have a Shock here or not. I assume we're going to see an attack here because they're not blocking. My next turn's probably Zegana plus Growth Chamber Guardian, attack for 5. Then we should be pretty far ahead on board, especially since I have 6 lands. This could become an 8/8. We're already through 3 Lava Coils, so pretty likely that this just gets to untap and be an 8/8. Or 1 main deck copy of Zegana here. So, no sweepers to worry about at the opponent. They go to 7, so unless they have their 4th Lava Coil, the Zegana being an 8/8 should take the game away. This could just be a reading Zegana. Zegana's not really a format staple, so they can make this Terramander a 5/5 for a single point of mana here, though. And then, like, they do have 3 copies of Dive Down to protect it from this Incongruity. No Crackling Drake, sure. So that can trade with my Zegana. Alright, I think I attack with everything here and see what shakes out. This adapts at instant speed to an 8/8. Well, they're dead with these blocks. Because this tramples. If they have a shock here, so they're done. So. I need to disable automatically assigning combat damage. Alright, post board, they've got a Bacon Bolt and some Raptor Hatchlings. I want my Lava Coils here. Pretty sure I want my Vivien Reids. I don't think I want my counter spells. What do I want to trim? That's 5 cards in. Climb's like okay as a defensive measure in this matchup, so I think I want some of them. Maybe they're just worse than the removal spells, though. They're probably just worse than the removal spells. They get Spell Pierce, too. Could cut Growth Chamber Guardian, become a little bit more controlling. I think I want the Ravager Wurm to the top end. Zegana is actually probably a liability in this matchup just because she's a 4-mana card that dies to Lava Coil. I can see that being the case. Trim these. How many creatures does this leave me with? It's 26 creatures. I probably don't mind trimming an Incubation here. The removal half of it's a little bit slow and clunky, and I have Lava Coil and Collision in as well. And Vivien Reid also. I could also just see, like, trimming Vivien Reid and, like, not going to 2 of those. She gets... Getting your 5-mana card like Spell Piercer Dive Down feels real bad. This seems reasonable. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a try. They have more Dip Visits in their board, which might be if they want to go that big. If I see a bunch of Dip Visits this game, I'll probably bring the second Vivien back in for the third, if there is a third. Gameplay, auto-order trigger abilities, auto-assign combat damage, disable emotes. This hand's great. Set me up. Alright, both got our 1-drops. Scale of 1 to dead, where's the self at? He's very much alive. Good. Wonder if do I just Jadelight on 2? Probably just Jadelight on 2 and like get to racing. Yeah, like maybe dig for a Wildgrowth Walker, but if I miss, I'm pretty sad. If I miss on any 2-drop, I'm like incredibly sad. So I think I'd like to just Jadelight Ranger here. I've been that, I think. Do have my opponents have 2 copies of Fiery Cannonade in their deck post board, which I have had people bring it against me before, which is another reason to bin the Branchwalker. They do with the Discovery last turn. They kept both of them, so like 2 things in here right now. Growth Chamber Guardian. Okay, not terrible. Can't play and pop that in the same turn yet, so let's start with this. Ravager Wurm, Hydroid Krasis. I think I'm going to take the Worm. I think I want to preserve my health total, so I'm going to go ahead and play... I'm going to start by attacking. I'm going to attack with this first, that way if they have a shock, they might shock this instead of shocking my Growth Chamber Guardian post-combat. Then they know about this land, but I want to play a shock land tapped here to get that down. And then next turn, I can pop off Growth Chamber Guardian and play the new one out, which is nice. Dive down will protect from the Worm. It's really not that big of a deal. Oh, that's pretty good. Alright, well. Back with both of these. That's like a good draw regardless here. And like they know my deck list, like they have it in front of them, so like this deck screams Collision, Colossus. One could argue I am a master at baiting. Pop this off as well. We're gonna take 3-7 here down to 8. How about next turn I get to jam this Worm down their throat? There are still only 2 instants and sorceries in there, so these Terramanders are still pretty far off of being scary. They know about the Ravager Wurm, because we got it off Incubation. Do I play around Dive Down here? I feel like that might be a card they cut against me. So, I'm going to make this haste, and I'm actually going to have it fight the Terramander here, and the reason why I'm having it fight the Terramander is because this way, if they dive down the Terramander to save it, their creatures only have 4 toughness, and I can still attack in with my 2 4/4s and force a block. So now they're obligated to chump here, even though they had the dive down. I'm still at a nice healthy 15 here. One of their creatures has to block or they're dead. No reason to attack with the Jadelight Ranger because I guess they can run the double block here, huh? That's a reason to attack with the Jadelight Ranger. Yeah, I'm gonna kill the Crackling Drake. It's a scarier one. Yeah, maybe I didn't think about the double block. The double block's a reason to ship with the Jadelight as well. I guess it's worth noting that making the Worm a 4/5 here with haste means that their Terramanders are larger than it next turn, which is relevant. Maybe that's a mistake. I do have this Incongruity up my sleeve, but it leaves them a 3/3 behind. They can trade with my Jadelight. Yeah, I think not hitting them with the Jadelight last turn was a pretty big mistake. If I still had a 4/4 here, I'd be in a much better spot. They have 6 mana, and there are only 3 instances and sorceries in here, so it currently costs them 5 to floop off one of the Terramanders. If I shock in a land, I can play Growth Chamber, pop Growth Chamber, play second Growth Chamber, and like have a bunch of power set up for the following turn. They want to hit me for 5 this turn. They're not going to be able to leave a 5/5 back on defense. Yeah, I hope that Jadelight Ranger, the lack of an attack on the Jadelight Ranger doesn't cost me. It's an interesting line. Okay. So that notably puts them to 4 things in their discard pile. But I'm only taking 1 or 2 this attack step. I guess if I would have left a 4/4 around, they could have taken it. And not attacking with the Jadelight Ranger lets them keep it back as a blocker too, which is relevant. That is a reasonable draw. Alright, stack with this. They have like Jadelight plus a shock here. I'm glad they burned in Transing Melody already. So we'll shock this in, but then we'll gain 2 back. So we stay at 15. Wonder if they have a shock. Krasis draws more Krasis. They have 2 Entrancing Melodies in their sideboard, so we're hoping to dodge a second copy of that at this point. The Krasis Incongruity interaction is really sweet because if they block the Krasis, and then I remove the blocker, the Krasis has Trample, so it'll kill them, which is nice. Krasis being a 5/5 means it does also trade with these Terramanders. I believe that gives them 6 things in here. Yeah, so they can make both of these 5/5s at this point. Alright, yep. So how aggressive do you want to be? So they had their second melody. 1 card left. I assume they don't want to leave themselves dead to 1 removal spell here. This doesn't trample, so there's no real reason to attack with it. I know they don't have another melody in their deck. They do have 1 mass manipulation in their sideboard, which is kind of terrifying if they brought that in here. I think I just do this for X is 6. Anything other than mass manipulation, and we should be pretty good to go here. Push us up to 18 and gives us something bigger than their 5/5s, which is nice. Their Terramanders are just 1 mana to make 5/5s now, though, which is relevant. Makes them bigger than my worm. Do they have mass manipulation? That would be such a beating if they had double entrancing and mass manipulation in their top 20. I guess they haven't really drawn any drakes. No, that's not true. I've killed 2 drakes, right? Yeah, killed 2 drakes. Alright, well that means we're not getting... No, they could still land mass manipulation. They ditched a discovery, which means their last 2 cards are spells, right? Or land mass manipulation. So next turn I have 9 mana available, which means I can go Guardian Branchwalker plus hold up Incongruity, which is nice. And then each of the Growth Chamber Guardians will lose 1 on its own, which is ideal. Let's start by doing this and seeing what we hit. Don't want to draw that, but I am happy that this turned into a 3/2. Because now the Merfolk Branchwalker plus the Llanowar Elves represent a lethal attacker between them. I tapped the Elf here so that way they can't shock me off of my 3rd mana source this turn. And I'm intentionally leaving up Incongruity / a Growth Chamber Guardian activation this turn. Just in case this Maximize Velocity decides to try and get cheeky. Because we're technically dead to Drake maximize ship with everything, but then we Incongruity one of the Drakes, block the other, take 15, go to 3, and then kill them on the backswing. So they are dead on board right now. Okay, the fact that it's Crackling Drake as their next Drake does mean they could have Spell Pierce or Dive Down to protect here. If they have Spell Pierce or Dive Down, we are dead. Due to the maximized velocity here. I have one of those. If they don't have Spell Pierce or Dive Down, we should win here. Although I guess they're technically not dead on board anymore, right? The nice thing about this combat step here is it tells me if they don't push for lethal, I can use the Incongruity next turn, although I guess now they could be finding Dive Down with this hit. They want double bin, sure. They might just make me have it here. They're dead to any removal spell. But like I'm not strictly representing a removal spell because leaving 3 mana up does represent Growth Chamber Guardian activation as well. So I assume this means they're attacking with everything, and then we're gonna block into them with the backswing. So I'm gonna go to 3 and then they die. They need more Flample. Always need more Flample. It was a close game. First game we ran away with a little bit, but that one was pretty close. Good games, opponent. Thanks everybody for watching. I am not going to be entertaining in between rounds of the match. I'm going to run to the bathroom and grab a snack. So I'm going to be a bad content producer and hopefully a good tournament player today. So thanks everyone for hanging out, and I appreciate it. Hopefully we're going to play 9 rounds today.